What's going on, everybody? Welcome into Payoff Pitch. We are Action Network's MLB betting podcast presented by BetMGM, the king of sports books. Happy Halloween. We didn't dress up, didn't even cross my mind. I'm not a big Halloween guy. I'm not sure about you two.
No.
I'll be dressed up for Green Dot Daily at 3 p.m. Eastern today.
Oh, cool. Very nice.
Yep.
That's Debundo, who's talking now, and Charlie DeSturco's here. Brendan Glasheen, your host. We're taking you through game number 4. We're getting you ready for game 4 of the World Series. The Diamondbacks and the Texas Rangers. Texas with a 3-1 win in game 3 last night. They lead the series 2-1. Series remains at Chase Field in Arizona. We will dive into some of the betting angles momentarily. Maybe Charlie can dress up as like a diamond. How do you dress up as a snake? Because Charlie's just done with this team. He's had enough of the Diamondbacks.
I hate the Diamondbacks.
But we are fair on this podcast. We want to give out winners and get the best handicap possible for, I'm not even going to say must win for the Diamondbacks because it feels like they could lose tonight and still be okay. But this was the game. This was the game in the NLCS. Down 2-1. They got a good start out of Fott. They won game 4 because of their bullpen. And that is their plan again today. With Mantiply on the mound, it's a bullpen game for the D-backs. Andrew Heaney will get the start. How long he goes? Good question. He's on the mound to start the game for the Rangers. Debundo, I'll ask you first. Total set at 9.5. Even money on both sides. -110. Rangers, Diamondbacks on the money line. How are you handicapping this game, and what direction would you like to go in to bet it?
Yeah, so, if you follow me in the app, we've done a lot of pitcher props, walks and strikeouts and outs recorded most of these playoffs. So bullpen games make it a lot less fun because there are no Arizona props. Joe Mantiply is going to throw 1 inning, and then there's going to do some combination of Castro. Frias, I think, will probably pitch, although he might be down. And then they have all of their top 4 arms available tonight, and none of their top 3 righties pitched in game 2 or game 3. So it's actually not all that different from the Philadelphia situation last week where, yes, they lost games 1 and game 2 against the Phillies, but they had everybody rested for those bullpen games, and they were able to use their top bullpen arms in games 3 and 4. While tonight, I think Arizona will get Sewald, Thompson, and Ginkel into any close game. And so I think that does create a little bit of value on the under. I generally think people think bullpen game over, runs, lots of scoring. I don't really necessarily agree with that because it is hard to hit off a team that is going to throw 5 to 7 different pitchers at you, and you're never going to get the same look at somebody twice. And you saw last night, as good as Fott was the first time through the order, the second time through, Texas started hitting balls harder against him. Of course, Seager jumps the changeup, and it's 3-0. So you saw that change. And really, Scherzer came out of the game before he really faced Arizona's top hitters a second time. And so I think that helped suppress the run environment. If you had told me Scherzer's only going to throw 3 innings, I would have bet the under last night too. So I do lean toward the under 9.5 tonight. Adolis Garcia remains questionable. I'd imagine he's probably out, but we don't know yet. I think you're kind of free rolling here, though. I do think that this number will come down if and when he's announced out. Pretty big hole in the middle of that lineup, especially given how they project, because they tend to surround him with lefties, right? With Carter and Seager. And that automatically creates a very favorable matchup. If say Sal Frank were to come in for Seager and Carter, and now, you don't have that big right-handed bat in the middle of the order like Adolis to create a matchup problem for Arizona in those middle innings whenever Sal Frank comes in, because I do expect him to pitch. He's been better in his 2 outings in this series. So I think, with all of Arizona's top bullpen arms throwing, I think this total's a little bit high at 9.5, and I'd expect it to be 9. Roof should be open. Not a ton of notable wind conditions to report based on the situation in Arizona today. The umpire situation as well, pretty neutral umpire, somewhat of a strikeout boost, but mostly neutral in terms of run scoring and walks. So I don't have a strong opinion on the side, but I do like the under 9.5.
Okay. Yeah, the key to your first statement about bullpen games is you actually have to have a good bullpen when you want to do the opener thing. And that's where some teams make that mistake when your bullpen stinks. Now, as we know, Arizona was a middle of the pack bullpen all year, and now they've turned into the best bullpen in baseball history, Charlie, and it's just driving you crazy. But you actually do like the Diamondbacks today. You are fair, and I think there's another reason why you like them today, because it's going to help out the pick you gave out before the series even started.
Yeah, I do like the Diamondbacks here. I grabbed them at plus money last night. I think a lot of it does have to do with the fact that Garcia is also out, and I think that cannot be understated how big of a loss Garcia.
He's going to get an MRI today. That's the latest I'm seeing on Garcia's status. There's Game 4 status up in the air, getting an MRI today. That's the
right.
That's what I saw.
Yeah, he was doubled over at first base after he hit the fly ball. Then you saw him go into the dugout and like hunch over as he's like getting into the clubhouse. I would be surprised unless he's a robot that he's playing today. And that puts a big strain on this Rangers lineup. And I think, yes, it's very top heavy. It starts to become very top heavy. That is. And we've talked about this Arizona Diamondbacks bullpen and just how dominant it is. And Torey Lovello has been, a genius with using his bullpen. And it's cost me a lot of money with that Phillies NLCS ticket and whatnot. And this is, the Craig Kimbrell game that I maybe tweeted that video of Alek Thomas hitting a home run 5 times. But when you look at the matchup, Andrew Heaney probably won't get through the first time or won't pitch through the second time. And if he does, probably just to get through Seager and Carter before getting relieved for Dane Dunning, I would assume. But even then, Dunning did pitch in game 1 and 2. So another bullpen game for Texas. And I do give the edge to Arizona's bullpen here at home. Heaney, about a 4.5 expected ERA. Dane Dunning right around that same mark. Both guys, Dunning gives up a lot of hard hits and does not get many swings and misses. And Heaney right around league average in the swing and miss department, but gives up a lot of barrels. So I do think that this is a spot for Arizona. I do think they can jump on Heaney. I think they can jump on Dunning and the rest of this bullpen. And because of the usage and having Ryan Thompson and Ginkel and Sewald and all these guys in their back end ready to go multiple innings, I think they should be favored by a little bit more than where they're at right now, which is I think there's some 105s in the market. So like the Arizona Diamondbacks, I also played some Christian Walker props, which I don't think you want to play because I've done it 3 times this series and he's had 1 hit in the 3 games. And then last night he hits a double in his first at bat. But last night was pretty promising. He had 3 at bats where the exit velo was about 96 to 108 miles an hour, I believe it was. And the day before that, or the game before that, game 2, he did have a couple of at bats with hard hit exit velos as well. So I think that he's starting to turn a tide, gets a lefty in his first at bat, might face it a second time through, though I would doubt it. But even then, if Dunning comes on or the bullpen arms, I do give the edge to Walker here. So like taking a stab at plus 140 on the home run market and a little sprinkle on his 475 home run as well.
Okay. Debundo, I would imagine it is Dunning. He only had 9 pitches in game 2, right? So I think Dunning's good to go to pitch in this game in relief of Heaney, right?
Yeah, I mean, Dunning pitched, games 1 and 2. Like you said, though, he's kind of just become a hybrid super reliever now. And so I think he's fine, as a starter who, got yesterday. He didn't pitch yesterday. So they're clearly were trying to save him. They threw John Gray instead. So I do think Dunning comes in here. My projection is 11 batters for Heaney, and they've been very aggressive in using him. He's made 2 starts in the playoffs. He started the first game against Baltimore, 14 hitters. And then as soon as it got through the lefties the second time and he ran into a little bit of trouble in that 4th inning in Baltimore, they were out and had Dunning ready to go behind him for the righties. And in the second outing against the Astros, he was so bad he couldn't get out of the first inning. If he's that ineffective, then that's a different problem. But if he's average effectiveness, I don't think he faces Christian Walker, Gabriel Moreno, and Tommy Pham a second time, the 3, 4, 5 hitters for the Diamondbacks. I think it's a pretty solid 11-hitter cap. And so his 9.5 outs prop, there's an under -135. I would play it up to -170. I really don't think he sees more than 11 hitters here. And so as a result, I think under is the way to go with Heaney again, as I think we both did in the last 2 starts he's made. So I played under Heaney in the app this morning, and that's my favorite prop for this game.
Do we suspect Jankowski to play for Garcia? Would that be their plan?
Probably Grossman.
Yeah, Grossman.
I would assume.
Okay. All right, very good. How about this? Any interest in buying 2 things? Number one, is there any angle or is there any value on playing the Diamondbacks to win the series right now?
Well, there is an interesting situation developing now with Max Scherzer. He's
hurt too. Yeah.
Spasms are real. Now, John Gray pitched well in relief, and I'd assume that if Scherzer couldn't go, they would replace him on the roster with somebody like a Matt Bush for like an inning or two in bullpen game 7 situation. It's a little scary. And then Gray would be the starter. So, they're not totally out of options, but if they get to a game 7, I mean, Arizona certainly would have to like their situation on the road again in that spot. So, I don't hate looking at Arizona in 7. Even if Scherzer did pitch, there's the ultimate risk that, he's lying about how healthy he is to the team and going out there and not being effective. There's just a lot of uncertainty right now with his situation. His back blocks up on him 24 to 48 hours is what he said in the past. But you never know with back spasms and what happens. So I think it's going to be really interesting. We've seen this literally happen in the World Series. It happened in 2019 when the Nationals won. He was supposed to pitch game 5 and then he didn't. Joe Ross had to fill in for him the day of because he couldn't move his neck when he woke up in the morning. So this is just kind of the ongoing saga with him, but I think it's something certainly to monitor. I picked Texas before the series. I still like Texas, but certainly a little bit more uncertain now as we get deeper into this series and everybody's going, and I mean, if Adolis is out, that's also a huge loss, of course, for the lineup. So in a way, it was a bit of a Pyrrhic victory last night, but no such thing in the World Series, as I guess you could say.
I was just saying I tend to agree. Like, I think there is value on Arizona. Am I going to play it? No, because I just like every time you tell me, oh, do you want to bet Arizona to win the series? Like, same thing with the Philly series. Like, I don't think that they're going to win, and I do think that the Rangers have a pretty significant edge after this game, and like game 5 and 6 with Eovaldi having a second chance and Merrill Kelly, and then Merrill Kelly this game 6 against Monty. Like, I think that the Rangers hold the edges in those, and I don't know if we get to a game 7, but I think that if you want to play the Snakes, the value side is on taking them to 1-7, because in that game 7 there will be value on fought against whoever the Rangers throw out. But the trouble is they have to get through today, and then they have to get through Eovaldi and Monty a second time.
Right. Okay.
Zach Allen has not been great. That's another concern.
Yeah.
I mean, and he hasn't been good at any point in the playoffs really since that LA start. His last 3 have been poor. So, is he out of gas? That's a concern. I don't think Eovaldi and Montgomery are like infallible as starters. Like we saw, I mean, the Diamondbacks should have been up 2-0 in this series, if we're being honest. So like it's not like they've been totally outplayed here, but going forward, I think slight lean to Texas still think they get this done in 6, but if it gets to a game 7, I would not want to be holding like a juicy Rangers ticket.
That's just like the Phillies. It's deja vu, right? Halloween.
Funny.
Under the specials tab at BetMGM, Diamondbacks to win the series 4-3, so in 7 plus 500. Now, I think this Garcia thing is interesting only because, and you guys both mentioned this, does that help the Diamondbacks to pitch? Well, they don't have that protection anymore for Seager. And I'm curious if now that opens the door for somebody else to present value to an MVP. If Seager's at minus 175, he's the favorite by a long shot. And then Tommy Pham's next to plus 900. So is there anybody else on that board that might be worth a look, or is it a stay away?
I don't see how it's not Seager. I mean, he hit the huge home run in game 1. He basically won them 2 games in the series now.
If Texas wins, it's Seager. If the D-backs is the only side that probably has value, because if Pham has played incredible to start the first 3 games of the series, and he's quite literally probably ruined my Evan Carter most hits 13-1 ticket, but there hasn't been a quote unquote hero yet from Arizona. Pham went 4 for 4, but if someone has a big home run tonight, like Christian Walker gets 2 big homers, or Corbin Carroll has like a bases clearing double again in this game, like all of a sudden Corbin Carroll becomes the favorite. So I think if you want to play Arizona and you think that they have value, you could take a stab on a couple of those guys, like Corbin Carroll, who where's Corbin at?
16-1.
I would lean toward Corbin Carroll at 16-1, or Ketel Marte wherever he is. Just
14-1.
Given the fact that both of them will probably get consistent at bats, probably 4 to 5 a game. Both will find themselves in high leverage situations. Corbin Carroll could steal, so that's always a plus, that he can single-handedly get second, get third, and score with 1 out. I would look toward Arizona on the MVP market if you want to invest, because if Texas wins, it's all Seager.
Right.
Fair
like
enough.
they have to win 3 of the next 4 games. And so in order for that to happen, a lot is going to have to happen on the actual baseball field. And you're not going to get credit for what you do in losses. You're going to get credit for what you do in wins. And so that's the thing against Pham. It's like, yes, he's obviously been their best player, but in terms of narrative awards, he's not really in the running yet, unless he has a big moment in one of their wins. So, and their win was so lopsided that like nobody will actually remember what happened in that game beyond, I mean, like Merrill Kelly, maybe if he shoves in game 6, what's his odds?
Merrill Kelly. 18-1.
Yeah. I mean, if he shoved
not,
in game
not as
6,
fun as Nathan
like
Eovaldi at 200-1
situation, or if it was like, that's not great number, but Kelly, I mean, we saw the Strasburg thing, right? Like he had 2 dominant starts to win them 2 games in 2019. And then they had a heroic moment in game 7 from like Howie Kendrick, but it was still Strasburg's award. So you could see a path, but yeah, I think I like the hitters more for Arizona than Kelly at those numbers. If it was like 25-1, I would have probably taken a stab on Merrill, but.
Okay, very good. So Dabundo. So what I've gathered, Dabundo likes the total under 9.5. There's not the juice is now at -120 on the under. So who knows? Would you play it still at 9?
What's 9 -100 is even money is fine.
Okay. And Charlie likes the D-backs on the money line with that bullpen edge.
And I'm also on Heaney under 9.5 outs.
And Walker, which
you did get a market on Heaney's out total.
Yes.
Oh.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. A couple bucks.
Strikeouts are 2.5, and his walks are 1.5, I believe.
Okay.
Juice to the under.
Way juice under on the 1.5. I mean,
Yeah.
I do like. I'm not laying 220 on it, but the under 1.5 does look good to me. But
okay, all right, you got to make sure you shop, folks, before those markets become unavailable. Very good. We will be here tomorrow. We know we will get a game 5, 8:00 start in Arizona. If the D-backs win, we know we get a game 6 on Friday back in Arlington. So that's the plan. Back tomorrow, and depending on what happens, we'll find out if we're definitely getting a game 6 or not on Friday night. For Dabundo and Charlie, Brendan Glasheen, thanks for listening, everybody. Best of luck. Enjoy game 4 of the World Series. Texas leads 2-1. We'll see what happens. We're back here tomorrow for a game 5 preview here on Payoff Pitch, Action Network's MLB betting podcast presented by BetMGM.
Go Snakes.